everyone, and welcome to my channel. And I am Stephanie, and this is a new sort of way to do my weekly wrap-up because I am currently in the middle of doing 24 and 48, and I wasn't going to do a wrap-up for today to be released, but then I looked at it and was like, you know what, I need to go ahead and do a wrap-up because then that's just how it should be. I should be releasing wrap-ups on Sundays, and I'm going to get this one done. And then for my Tuesday, I can give you guys my vlog for 24 and 48. So, for the week of July the 15th through the 21st, here are the books that I read. Alrighty, first book I read was Enthrall number 1 by Vanessa Fewings. And I placed this in erotica. I read this for Smutathon for the love triangle category. And I DNF'd this book at 48%, which was about 4 hours and 10 minutes. And it just wasn't working for me. I think the female character or the voice of the narrator just didn't do it for me. It just really turned me off, and I just could not get into the story. So I may try to read this series because I really enjoy 50 Shades of Grey type of series, and a couple of my book friends have recommended this book or this book series, and I appreciate and respect their recommendations. The next book I read was Breaking Her, Love is War, book number 2 in the duet by R.K. Lilley, and I placed this in contemporary. I give it 4 stars. I listened to it on audiobook, and this is Scarlett and Dante's conclusion to their story, to their lives. And the only reason I didn't give this book 5 stars like I did the last one is because I felt that this one was a little different. I mean, I still had that hate to love kind of aspect going on with it and everything like that, but it threw in a bit of a mystery, and secrets were revealed and things like that, and I just didn't necessarily like some of the things that went on. I still really enjoyed the dynamic. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the conclusion of it all, and really felt that hate to love dynamic, but it didn't pick up where the last book left off. So I felt there was a bit of a disconnect. The next book I read was Slouch Witch, The Lazy Girl's Guide to Magic, book number 1. And I read this for the Romance Roundabout for the Urban Fantasy category. I give this book 3.5 stars. I listened to it on audiobook, and it is urban fantasy. Like I said, this book follows Ivy and Winter. Ivy is this witch that doesn't want to do anything, and she just gets mistakenly identified as the partner for Winter, who is a rough and gruff witch, male witch, that needs a partner, and they go out. Something is stolen from the order of the witch people or something or another, and it was a cute book. I mean, oh, I forgot to tell you guys, this book is written by Helen Harper. So, sorry about that. So this book was very interesting in that it was super sassy. Ivy was very, very sassy in her being, and it sort of gave the groundwork of witches and things like that, but it was just okay for me. It was just okay. The next book I read was Imperfect, which is Sins and Secrets number 1 by Willow. I listened to this on audiobook. This is a dark romance. I give this book 4 stars. This book introduces us to Julia and Mason. Julia lost her husband in a tragic accident about 8 to 10 months ago, and when she finally decides to sort of get back out there, she meets Mason. And Mason has these secrets. There was a few things that turned me off sort of about this story. One of them being that the audiobook for Julia, the female voice, sounded very computerized, and I'm like, what? Yeah. I loved Mason's narrator. He was an amazing narrator. I really enjoyed his part of it. Now, Julia is a poet, so in the beginning of each one of the chapters, there is a poem or a famous line or something like that. And I did enjoy that, but at the same time, it got a little overwhelming because every single chapter had a poem to it or had a saying, and I was just kind of like, okay, we're over it. And also with Julia, I understand everyone grieves differently, and this character, she just seemed to be hell-bent on sticking with feeling like she shouldn't move on after her husband died. And then some things are revealed and you're like, girl, why you still, I felt like I needed to like yell at Julia and go, girlfriend, I need you to get out your head, because he wasn't a good guy. He just wasn't a good guy. All these things are being revealed to you. What the hell? What the hell? Mason was great. He was swoony. He was alpha male, like total alpha male. Oh my God. Such an alpha guy. And if that is not something you are interested in, he may not be a character you want to sort of root for, but I rooted for him. He was very alpha, and it is BDSM light, so know that that's part of it as well. It is a dark romance, so that usually is a sort of aspect to it. Then the final book that I read last week for those dates is A Recklessly Royal, which is The Royals #2 by Nichole Chase. And this is a rom-com. I read it for 24 and 48. I read it in approximately like 4 to 5 hours. I listened to an audiobook and I give it 4 stars. This book follows Catherine, and as I said, it's a book #2, so technically you don't need to read the first book in the series to understand what's going on. It's definitely a standalone, but it probably would have been good if I had a little bit more background on it. But I did enjoy Catherine's character. She is a princess, and you start off and you find out that she is coordinating the bachelorette party for her soon-to-be sister-in-law, and her soon-to-be sister-in-law has a friend from the United States coming into their country. I didn't gather where their country, what the actual name of the country is. They say it a couple times, but I can't pronounce it. But it is a European country, so her soon-to-be sister-in-law's best friend comes from the United States. His name is David, and they like birds. They're ornithologists. I think that's what they're called. But he likes birds, and he teaches about birds and everything like that. Well, Catherine, the princess that is throwing on the bachelorette party, gets completely sloshed and thinks that David is a stripper. Even though she didn't order a stripper, he is this like hot alpha male, and I really just enjoyed their dynamic. There's some things that go on in the royal family that they have to deal with, and actually get to see Catherine sort of let down her hair and, enjoy herself. So, have you read any of those books that I just named off? Let me know down in the comments if you want to talk about them or if you've read them or anything like that. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys later.